Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for this incredible interview. And this is going to be incredible because Christine Saintville is incredible. So when she's not teaching for experts and moguls like Steve Harvey, she's taking time out of her busy schedule to share this valuable information with you all, my community. And I think it's important that we listen to these nuggets of wisdom that Christine Saintville is going to drop today. My name is Andrea Evans. I own the law firm of Andrea Hence Evans, a full-service intellectual property law firm. I provide patent, trademark, and copyright legal services to clients worldwide with U.S. intellectual property issues. And when I started my firm about 13 years ago, I was just like many of you watching, an entrepreneur without $1 million marketing budget. And I thought, how will I get my brand out there? And I started taking advantage of free, F-R-E-E, tools to market my firm, namely social media. And believe it or not, that is how I met Christine Saintville. We met virtually through Periscope and then realized we had a mutual friend. And then I'm telling you, community is amazing. Social media is amazing. Realized that we go to the same church and it's just amazing. So I want to introduce you all to Christine Saintville. She is a social media expert. So she probably was doing this long before I was, and we can learn from her. But she owns Purpose-Driven Media. So she's going to talk about that. And she also owns Moms in Charge. Now, just the names of these businesses, Moms in Charge, like, okay, please give me some tips, Christine, and Purpose-Driven Media, because we also all need to have some purpose. So Christine, thank you so much for being here, and please introduce yourself.
Well, hello, Andrea. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you for having me here. Happy to be here and share with your community. And yes, like you said, the world is too small. We definitely met through social media, found out we have a whole lot of different connections together. So that is awesome. And, you mentioned Moms in Charge. So I actually started using social media in my corporate experience back in 2008, 2009. That's around the time I used to work in corporate HR. And that was around the time, Facebook was coming out Facebook was out and people were using Facebook. And I, went to my, managers and said, hey, we need to start recruiting our temporary employees using Facebook and LinkedIn. And so, of course, there was a lot of pushback because they were like, what do you mean? We don't want y'all being on these, social media platforms. We don't know what they do. It was like a whole IT thing. So fast forward, we ended up doing it. And now that is basically what people are doing now. Companies are doing now. They're using social media to recruit their employees. So I left my job in 2011, I believe. And, when I was 6 months pregnant with my third child. And I decided to start a blog in 2012. And so my blog is Moms in Charge. That's the platform that I use. I started it really to try to empower parents, try to empower moms specifically to go after their goals and dreams. As you know, Andrea, being a mom, you're working, you're a wife. And so we have all of these things pulling at us. And it's so easy to lose your identity in motherhood. It's so easy to lose your identity and put your dreams, your goals on hold. And, my thing with Moms in Charge was, why can't you do both? So I would be in Facebook groups where moms would be talking about all of these things they wanted to do, but they were putting things off because they had to wait for their kids to start school. They had to wait for their kids to graduate from school, all of these things. And I was like, why can't you do both? So that was the premise of me starting Moms in Charge. And just through using social media, connecting with people like you, connecting with, just amazing people, I understood the power of social media, being able to work with brands. And I understood, looking from the outside in, I would see other companies just kind of throwing stuff out there. Once they found out, oh, I need to be on social media, it was just like, okay, I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm going to pitch myself in everybody's comments. And I was like, no, there should be a purpose behind everything that you do when it comes to social media, especially if you're an entrepreneur or you're trying to leverage it for networking. So that's how Purpose-Driven Media came about. We are social media agencies, so we work with clients to help them strategize and create their content for their platforms.
Wow. Well, congratulations on approaching 9 years of having so much success. And you are so passionate about what you do. I mean, I can just tell just from that big, beautiful smile on your face. But you said something that really stuck out to me, as a mom and a professional juggler, I should say, of owning businesses, like you said, being a wife, having children. So right now, this very moment, people are posting every day on Facebook that they are feeling anxious, they're feeling overwhelmed, because now a lot of states have curfews, all the schools are closed around the country. So now parents are literally trying to balance working from home, teaching their kids. So you said, why can't we do both, and why do we have to put our dreams off? So please drop some nuggets on how we're supposed to be doing all of this, because we didn't have any rules, or we're just kind of figuring it out as we go. But thankfully you're here today to help us, and your kids are so smart and well behaved. So everybody get your pen and paper out, because we need this information. Christine, please tell us, how can we actually have a balance and a good kind of work life between being a mom and owning a business and working, even if you work for an employer?
Absolutely. That's such a great question. And you said something at the beginning, like you're a professional juggler. Like, I've always used the terminology of juggle and not balance, because if you think about juggling, you never have both balls in your hands at the same time, right? Like, one is leaving your hand, one is in your hand. If you try to put all 10 balls in your hand at the same time, like, something is going to fall. So that's kind of how I've always looked at, motherhood, parenting, being a wife, having, running a company. I think the biggest thing right now, just in terms of everything we're going on, it's so easy to get sucked into the negativity. And I'm a big component of, what you think about, that is really what's going to drive your actions, is what's going to drive your feelings. And so if you're watching the news 24/7, you're going to sleep with it on, you're waking up with it on, it's nothing but, negativity, like, you're going to feel it. And so, I encourage you to listen to uplifting podcasts, listen to content like this that Andrea is putting together, because we all need each other right now, right? And so this is a great time to connect with people. There's so many amazing people who are putting out content to uplift, to motivate, to inspire, and so you have to be able to give your mind a break. For me, faith is a big thing for me. So I am going into, Bible study plans and, scripture, and I'm looking at motivational quotes, just connecting with other people that I know are going to uplift me as well. And so one of the things that I would say right now, and one of the things that I've said over and over again over the last several weeks for parents, is to let go of the need to be perfect, right? So you're thinking, and we were talking briefly before, we came on live, that like now, so many people have been forced into homeschooling, right? So I've written, a couple of posts about that and resources. But the thing that I'm telling parents is that you can't expect that you're going to be able to give your kids the exact same routine that they got when they were in school, right? So things are going to be different. Like, give yourself some time, give yourself some grace to figure it out. Everybody's figuring this out. You're stressed, but your kids are probably stressed too. They're going to show it a little bit differently, but they're probably stressed too, because they've been pulled away from their friends. They're pulled away from their activities. And while we've been homeschooling this is our 7th year homeschooling, it's still a little bit of adjustment for us, because again, they're not able to go to their activities. My youngest is a gymnast, so there's no gym. Like, we had to make room in the basement for her to flip around some more, right? So let go of the need to be perfect. Be okay with not having it all together all the time. One thing that I will say with having kids at home, with them doing the work at home, it's going to take them a lot less time to do the work. So I'm seeing parents, and you were saying it too, Andrea, how your son finishes work in like 2 days. It was supposed to be 2 weeks. Yeah, because they're at home, and that's what they have. That's what they have to focus on. They're not being distracted by other kids. They're not being distracted by anything else. Like, they're going to go through it a lot quicker. So for us, on average, it might be 2 to 3 hours a day that we spend dedicated to schoolwork, right? The other thing is to try to make it fun. So it doesn't all have to be sit down, open a book, do your work, get a laptop, make it fun. How can you bring some things out? One of the things that we're doing, we're playing Scrabble. What does that teach? It teaches them how to spell. It teaches them, new words that they've never learned before. I know I've been learning a whole bunch of new words that I didn't know before. So we've been trying to figure out ways to make things fun. And don't forget to just take the time out for yourself and not feel guilty about it. So I know it's easier said than done, But in order for you, and I had to learn this a hard way, in order for you to really be able to be there for your kids, now you're teaching them, now you're helping them with their schoolwork, you have to find a pocket of time. If that's before they wake up in the morning or, after they go to bed at night, you need to be able to take some time to decompress. Sorry, that was a whole mouthful.
Oh, well, no, that was incredible and inspiring because, I don't think that anyone has ever actually asked an actual homeschool parent what they do every day. So I just assumed because my children were going to school for 8 hours that they need to be doing something for 8 hours. And so it's encouraging to hear you say, look, it may be 2 to 3 hours of work and then let them take a break, So now there's hope for my children because Austin, I said, listen, you're going to be a Fortnite expert. People get paid to play video games. So now I guess I better keep pushing him to keep working. So
yep, exactly.
But listen, I wanted to ask you, so talk about that a little bit because yes, you homeschool your children, but you also run a lucrative business, and you do both very well. And Christine to me has a dream job, the people that get to go to Turks and Caicos for free with their family and take pictures on the beach on an all expense paid trip. And then they say that they're working and you're like, what kind of qualifications and skills do you have to have for that type of job? So please tell everybody how you actually manage a day. What is a day like in your life? Because I know things have changed. And like you said, you had to rearrange the basement for your gymnast. And of course, we're doing our part to flatten the curve. But what is a typical day like for you?
Well, it's always different. So, for us and just in this time now, it's become, now I have to be more focused on my work because I realize, even though we're home, it's a little bit different because I would take time out to go take the kids to the activities and that would kind of be our hangout time. And now like everybody's home. So it's easier for me to just be on my laptop and get work done and, kind of, seclude myself. Right. But now I have to realize that I have to kind of carve some time out. So like I was doing work yesterday and then they were like, we want to play Scrabble. So I'm like, okay, let me hurry up. I had to give myself a deadline so that I can go, and hang out with them. So I will always say I've never been the one to think like I'm doing this all on my own. I've always been about village. I've always been, about, my husband and I are always been partners, teams, and so he is definitely an integral part in helping me be able to do what I do. And so, he's very hands-on with the homeschooling. He's very hands-on with the kids. If I need to take a break for whether it's a conference call, whether it's, shooting some videos, we're talking about that, he will make sure that the kids are quiet. So nowadays it's been, okay, we'll carve out time. Like the kids know if you can get your schoolwork done, because usually we try to stay away from technology during the week. Of course, with them being home all day, every day now, it's a little bit different. So we use it as a leverage to say, okay, this is what we need to see you get done. And if we get it done, then maybe we can get, on electronics. But we're definitely trying to be more intentional about just, again, we're bringing out old school board games. I was trying to teach my girls how to double dutch the other day. So we're definitely trying to find ways to kind of stay connected, new ways to be connected and not, go crazy too.
Okay, good. So there's hope for all of us then. Thank you. So that actually is reassuring to me, that just like you said, you do the best you can, it sounds like. And
absolutely.
What I love about what you said is everybody has something to look forward to. If you finish your schoolwork, you can do this. If I finish my work, I get to do that. And I think that is something that we should think about now. I'm on Facebook and I've seen a lot of posts lately. Even one of my personal friends actually said she was so overwhelmed with all the emails from her child's school. She couldn't keep up with everything that was going on. So she actually withdrew her child from public school and said, just forget it. I'm just going to do a full-time program. But what she also said that kind of struck me is that she didn't understand now that she was working from home, how to actually turn off. When you actually have access to your laptop 24 hours a day and you are on social media, tell us more about how you turn off and how hard is that for you to turn off? What makes you turn off all your work at night?
Yeah, so it can definitely be a challenge, but And, for me, because my clients, that's what we do. They're all on social media. So I will say you have to have accountability, like have an accountability partner. I put everything on my calendar, like everything as far as like family time, work time. Like I literally put everything on my calendar. If I have a conference call, if I have to go out, like literally I carved out time to go grocery shopping. So I put it on my calendar, because if I don't, like, it's not going to get done, or something is going to kind of bleed into it. Am I perfect all the time? No, absolutely not. But as much as possible, it helps me to be more accountable. It helps me to not be as stressed. It helps me to not feel guilty if something, spills over, or if I have to take care of something. So, and then I also try to make sure that I include my family on what I'm doing. So, yesterday I talked about it. Hey, reminder, like I have, a call that I have to be on. I have a Facebook Live I have to do. So I get them involved as well, so that they understand the expectations. And hey, when I'm done with this, we can do this. So I think that it's about communication. I think it's about making sure that you are intentional with your time, making sure that you carve out space as much as possible. And if you have younger kids, like explaining to them, what it is that you're doing. I think the more that we can talk to our children and explain to them what it is that we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing, they feel a sense of, they just feel more empowered. They feel like they understand more. So it's not just, oh, she said she's working, she's on the phone, she's always on the phone, she's always on the laptop. Well, once I explain to my kids that, hey, this laptop and this blog and all this content that I'm putting out, it's allowing me to do things like take you guys to Disney World. It's allowing me to do things like take you guys to Turks and Caicos. So when I started including them on what I was doing, they understood. So then it didn't become, a source of, oh my gosh, she's always on there. Now they like to help me. Like my daughter was helping me do videos earlier. So I think that we just have to include our kids a little bit more, be more intentional about your time, and give yourself a deadline, like give yourself a timeline of when you're going to do things, and try as much as possible to stick to those times, so that there's a mutual agreement between you and your family.
Oh, I love that. And you said a mouthful. Communication is so important. And like you said, it's kind of like that Cosby episode, like I brought you into the world, I'll take you out. It's kind of like, wait a minute, you're complaining about me working, but that's providing these opportunities. And you're right, they're old. If they're old enough to complain about it, they're old enough to understand it. So I believe that. And another thing that you said that's very interesting is planning. Like I am a planner too. I'm an engineer, by trade as well. So, everything kind of to me needs to say, if this, then that, let me see it. And it kind of forces you to actually get things done. But I thought what was funny, and you probably saw the memes on social media as this pandemic occurred, that everybody had schedules for their kids. 9 o'clock, you're going to wake up, 10 o'clock. And then they felt like failures when at 9 o'clock the kids were still asleep, or, you're eating breakfast at noon. So I think that that's okay. And that's what you're saying. It's okay to do that. And so you've given us a lot of good information that is inspiring and reassuring to us as parents. But now for all the entrepreneurs out there, who are watching this, because you're also an entrepreneur and you mentor entrepreneurs and you speak to entrepreneurs, give us maybe 2 tips of advice. Like there are people who are watching who realize that they just do not like their jobs. They're working for someone and now they're home and they're seeing everybody else have fun and do things. And they're like, I want that freedom. I want to be able to do what I love to do, but they're not doing it. And then there are others who literally have just stopped working because they feel like they shouldn't be promoting their business. So it has to be some middle ground here, Christine. Help us out. So give us 2 tips that you would think that could help people.
Yeah, I agree. So thank you for sharing that. I think that right now people are looking for hope, which is why you're doing this, right? People are looking for, encouragement. So yes, there's a fine line between, building your business. I'll start with the entrepreneurs first. But at the same time, you have to realize that people are always also looking for information. They're also looking for education. And for those people who are, now they're thinking, okay, now's the time for me to figure out what I want to do. they're looking for resources. So if you educate, if you're a trainer, if you have, resources for people to be able to start their job, to be able to figure out what they want to do, now is the time to share that with them, right? Now is the time to host a webinar, right? To do something like this where you can share your expertise and allow people who are trying to maybe make that transition to make that transition. And if you're an entrepreneur, like, now is the time that you need to be creating, a space for, the people who are in your community to say, hey, I know what you're going through. I'm there too, but we're going to push through, right? There's still so many businesses, so many entrepreneurs that I love and admire that are still creating content, and it's content that we need. It's connecting people. We see the DJs that are going viral because they're on live DJing, and now, like, all of these different viral things is because we need each other. Like, people need, that feel good content, that feel good information. So if you have it, like, this is the time to do it. People are still out there looking for all of these resources. So if you have the ability to do it, if you have something to teach, absolutely, now you should be doing it, because this is the time that you have people's attention, right? And it's not to say, oh, you're being insensitive to what's going on. It's the fact that what's going on is now changing people's perspective on what they should be doing, what they could be doing, and what they'll be doing moving forward after all this is said and done. So if there's something that they could be learning right now when they're not working, 24 hours, like, this is a time that they're going to take to do that.
Yes. And, I know that everybody's taking notes and learning from this, just today. So thank you so much. Now, last question for you, because you touched on community. That to me seems to be the theme of this interview. A family community with your husband and your kids, the communication that's involved there. But now there are some entrepreneurs that realize during this time they're feeling hopeless, like you said, because they don't have a community. And now they want to start a community. And you are a social media expert. So if there's someone that's kind of wavering, saying, look, I don't know anything about social media, are there tips or something you can say, maybe 2 tips or 3 tips? What should we absolutely be posting on social media?
That is a great question. So I would say, really, everybody, you have all the tool you need, because if you're watching this and you have the capacity to be able to do something, the first thing that I would tell people is to make sure that whatever it is that you decide that you want to talk about, that you're authentic. Because, in this day and age, it's so easy to get that imposter syndrome. You see other people doing different things. And now you're like, oh, I need to be like this person, or I need to do it like this person. Oh, I'm not going to put that out yet because it's not perfect. I'm not going to put that out yet because this is not right. So I would say the people who I connect with most on social media, they're authentic. They, share their expertise. They're, they are the same people. Like, I've met people online and then met them in person, and I'm like, ooh, that's not who I thought that person was, right? So, be authentic to who you are. Share, how you're feeling, right? Share, different things. If you see great content, share that content. If you see somebody else sharing great content, comment on that, right? Share their content. Let them know how much you appreciate them sharing what it is that you need. So, right now, I would say, Instagram is my, favorite platform that I'm on. I like to connect with people there. So, being able to send direct messages to people to encourage them, or just sharing stories or replying to people's stories. It's really as simple as that. I think that, if you're an entrepreneur and you haven't started creating your community, think about what it is that you have to share. What is your expertise? And then decide how you're going to, portray that. Is it going to be static posts? Are you going to create a Facebook group maybe and, share content, go live in there and say, okay, on, every Tuesday or every Wednesday and Thursday, I'm going to go live and share, 3 tips for whatever your expertise is. I think that now is a time that people are really trying to figure out what it is that they want to do, if they haven't figured that out yet, or if they're doing what they want to do, they're trying to figure out how to grow that, right? How to grow their platform. So if that is your expertise, or if that's something that you're looking for, go and look up hashtags, right? For those things that you're looking at. So hashtags are a great way to be able to find either people or find, content or expertise around whatever it is that you're looking for. So if you're looking for social media tips, just plug in social media tips hashtag and see what comes up, see what resonates with you, and start to engage with those different people. And you'll be surprised at how many people will actually talk to you back.
Yeah, social media is amazing, and everybody wants to be a part of your community, Christine. So please tell us where we can follow you. And I know you have amazing programs and classes. Please share any information about that so that my community can join your community and everybody can continue to thrive.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you again for doing this, because I know that, it takes up your time, your family time, and the things that you have going on, but it's so needed in this, in this time that we're in today. So thank you for doing this. I can be found everywhere on social media at Moms in Charge, no I. And if you are looking for content or ideas and tutorials, I have some free courses. If you go to pdmcourses.com, you can sign up for some free courses there. And I send out weekly emails with tips and strategies to navigate this social media era that we're in right now.
Well, Christine, you are just so amazing and just such a beautiful person inside and out. And thank you for taking the time to join us today. And let me just ask you this. Let's leave them on a positive note. What is your mantra or words of wisdom, kind of in 1 to 2 sentences, that you want to leave us with today?
I love that question. So one thing that I didn't share, I think earlier, was that one of my mantras when I first started blogging, homeschooling, trying to figure all of this entrepreneur thing out and juggling everything, was a quote that I came across, and it said, "Fly. First love yourself, everyone else comes after." And I think that in this day and time right now, it's so easy to lose ourselves. It's so easy, again, to pour everything into everybody else, all of our kids, our husbands, whatever it is. And we have to understand that we need to pour into ourselves more now than ever. We need to take time out for ourselves. We need to, get into watch YouTube videos that are empowering, uplifting. I love listening to Eric Thomas, Never Settle Show. Those are a couple of, quick things. Find podcasts that fill you up, that motivate you, that inspire you. Follow people like Andrea that are always posting great content. Figure out what you need to fill yourself up in a positive way so that you can then shine your light, because somebody is waiting for you to shine your light to give them that little bit of hope that they may have lost. So I would say, don't forget to fly. First, love yourself.
Oh, I love that. Well, you are fly, and we are not going to forget to fly. But Christine, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. And you're just going to be flooded right now with a lot of likes and comments, and people are going to start following you because so many people use social media, and you're using it now by watching this interview, but now it's the time for you to get your message out. So thank you, because I feel inspired and encouraged, and I feel like I'm doing enough because, like you said, we beat ourselves up. You're ready to shut down a business and become a full-time homeschool teacher, but it's good to talk to somebody like you to let us know that we can do both, and we are enough, and we are all fly, and we are going to be fly. So thank you so much for that, and have a good night, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Bye, everyone.